Good afternoon and welcome to this weekly market update from MRC Markets. Today is the 12th of September 2013. What we'll do today is go through some technical analysis on Euro dollar cable, dollar yen, dollar Swiss, dollar CAD, Euro GBP and gold. We'll not make any trade calls or recommendations in this video, you trade at your own risk. If you could please read our full disclaimer on our website www.mrcmarkets.com. For any new followers, we have 3 moving averages on each of these charts. The red one is a 50 simple moving average, the purple is a 100 simple, and the gold is a 200 simple. So yeah, I was on holiday last couple of weeks, so basically just going to review the setups that I see in the market, what's going on in terms of levels and price action. And yeah, just go through the interesting moves and setups on these charts, and hopefully it will be of some use. So yeah, just purely focusing on a technical analysis today. Okay then, this is the Euro dollar weekly chart. What is going on this weekly chart then? We won't spend too long dwindling on it. It was just for, as we do these on a weekly basis, it's good to just for sort of context really, and look at the monthly, the weekly candles and the setups that are still in play. So in terms of the fibs, I actually need to change the colour of this. Bear with me 2 seconds. This is good. This is a good little trick, this, to show the levels next to the Fibonacci. If you double click here, space slash space dollar, no, percentage in pounds next to it, then it shows up the level. So that could be quite useful. And these ones will just be focusing on the 50% and the 61.8 as the retracements. As they're the best two in my opinion. They're nice, sort of healthy retracement levels, and it's good for a sort of zone. So I'll say like a nice retracement zone. This would be the healthy sort of level. So this fib's still in play from this low, the low of 2012 to the 2013 high. This sort of 50%, 61.8% range. This sort of buying zone, this is get bought up, so traders will, long-term players will be still looking for a grind higher into the 137s here. So that's the big, very big long-term one. You also have a short setup in play here. Although it's not really a fib, it's more of a level really. So I'm going to change this colour of this line as well. So it's on the default MT4 setting, so I'll just change it to my own colours. Pink one's quite a good one. I know it's a girly colour, but it's different from the red candle, the green, and the moving averages that I use here. So it just stands out quite well, and it's quite easy on the eye. So yeah, this setup's still in play. Shorts off of 133.90, so basically 134 handle. Are looking to grind that one down to these lows around the 127s. But more interestingly, one that has just occurred over the last week or so is this smaller one here, pretty much from the low of the year to this swing high here, and you can see, bam, right off this 50% to the pip and 50 week moving average. Nice reversal candle in last week's candle as well. So this week's candle is doing what it's meant to be doing and going higher. So in terms of the shorter, slightly shorter move, which can also be seen clear on the daily chart. So this is pretty much the low of the daily chart to the high of the daily chart. A nice simple up move, retrace, bam, off the 50% to the pip. Nice reversal candle there as well, and we're grinding higher. So this is the main setup that I'm looking at, and the bias here is towards the upside in my opinion. But also what is going on is this fib here from the high to the low, bam, 61.8 is starting to get sold off. So it's now very 50-50 in terms of the rest of this week. I mean, it's a Thursday today, and maybe even for next week as well. The setup will still most likely be in play unless we see some massive moves over the next couple of days. These are the two setups that I keep an eye on, and just look what's going on really. So we've already had a nice reaction off. This is 50%, and it looks like we could come down further today and maybe close below the 50%. If we close below the 50%, this 50-day moving average here, they wouldn't be surprised to see it grind back down towards this 50% here. And then of course there's nothing stopping it reversing off this level and going back up again. So two very interesting setups there. And one other that I'll look at, so I'm just going to delete this one here. So let's say if it does come back down to around this level, the other fib you can look at is from this high here. So let's say it tops out here this week, or today, or whatever. Then you can draw that small one there. So from lows to highs, if it comes back down to 50%, a lot of people will be looking at this one because it's the low of the week to the high of the week as well. In fact, the last couple of weeks, sorry. So yeah, that's another interesting fib. So euro dollar, very technical in terms of the Fibonacci retracement setups there. Playing out very nicely, so it's a nice decent technical chart there. Let's have a look at the cable. It's the pound dollar. In terms of this weekly chart, we won't look at it too much on the weekly, but I'm already this weekly candle starting to fly up this week. This setup here was the fib from the high of the year to the low. Started getting sold off at the 61.8 there, and came back down to the lows, but it bounced back up. You can now see we're above the 61.8% retracement. So if we get a weekly close above, then we really could grind higher here towards this 100% level. Or if you draw a 78.6 or a 76.4 retracement, then that could be another level to target there. So that's one fib that's in play. And of course, if we do start to top out today and it does start to retrace, then obviously that one there will be one to look out for. But it looks like it's really shooting up here. In terms of shorter term time frames, the daily chart, you've had a couple of nice plays, fib plays already played out. This was one here, from the lows to the highs. I think we spoke about this in the last video actually. Lovely bounce off the 50% there and ripped up higher and took out those highs. And then this fib here, I don't think it was a 50%. Yeah, just shy of the 50% there, but still lovely move up there. So the dip buyers are definitely doing well currently. And let's say the next dip would be from this low I'd personally look at. So let's say if it tops out maybe here or up here, this will be the low that I draw the fib from personally. So that should be quite an interesting one to look out for. And that's pretty much it really in terms of the cable. It's the same in terms of the 4 hours, quite a messy one really, isn't it? And there's some small dips here off the moving averages and maybe just trading the levels, really the round numbers. Yeah, because we didn't even come, because that would have been a nice support. If it, actually, it did come back down. So that was a resistance turned into support right around there. You can see, if I flip it to the 1 hour, you can see it a bit clearer, just right off there. But yeah, in terms of the daily, one key level, definitely keep on this one here, which is one spot 57.32. If it does come back down, starts to retrace, then keep an eye on that. That would come before the 50% retracement on that smaller setup there. Dollar yen, still in no man's land, really just chopping around in this range. Yeah, that wasn't a fib there. I think it's just trading off the round numbers really. I haven't spent too much time looking at dollar yen. But in terms of the levels, it's all about the 100 handle is definitely a key one to keep an eye on here. You can see we got sold off right there, came back up. We had a fakey close above, but we've started to sell back off. Then of course you've got the 99.50s to keep an eye out on. So yeah, I mean, there's no clear fibs on here playing out, so I just keep it to the obvious round numbers. So you got 100, 99.50s, and 99 100 hundreds here. You got to remember these are key levels because they're key option expiries. A lot of people trade the big, a lot of money, smart money will be on trading options, and these do have a big effect to the markets, in my opinion. You can see these play out much clearer in terms of the shorter term time frames. For example, here we've just flipped it to the 4 hour. You can see I did a lovely reaction there on the 4 hour, off that 99 handle. And you can see, bam, right up here off that was the 127. Sorry, I just changed that to 100. And you can see another couple of candles there, just really reacted nicely there, and then bam off the 99.50. So a few moves here, a nice support, came back up, reversed off the hundreds, came back down, 99.50s, nice couple of reversal candles there, and then reversed back up. So that's definitely the way that I'd be looking at it and trading dollar yen as well. Also, you can add 98. Also, you can add 98.50s there. So in terms of dollar yen, I'd just be trading the 50 pip ranges here, and just look for any just generally just trade the price action here on dollar yen. So yeah, quite an interesting chart. And of course, in terms of the fibs, one that I would look out for is this low here. This is on the 4 hour to that high, and see what happens if it does come back to the 50% retracement. It is looking like it is coming back down, and of course it'll be a confluence from this previous move, this previous spike low here. So key support there at 98.70s if we do come back down. So you've got a few key levels there and a nice fib to look out for there on dollar yen. Dollar Swiss, a key fib is this one here, from these highs to the lows here. Bam, right off the 50% we came in, lovely bearish candle there, and it's sold off this week. And then similar to euro dollar, so you got those you got long and short setups both still in play. This is what we're seeing here on dollar Swiss. You've got that short setup in play, and then you've also got this long setup, the counter move. So from that low to the high there, bam, right after 50% and the 50-day moving average. So the next couple of daily candles will be quite interesting. So you can see we came back down and it got capped at the 200-day moving average here. So the next couple of daily candles will be interesting. I personally think it will come back up. And if it does, it's got to get above this 200-day moving average. That's the first key resistance there. So it's a very 50-50 on dollar Swiss at the minute. The very short-term bias over the next couple of days, I think it should go up as this smaller fib is in play. But of course it could grind back down, the sellers just bring it back down. So yeah, very interesting chart that. Very similar to euro dollar, very mirror image chart as they have been for a while. Dollar CAD's quite an interesting one. You've got a very key trend line here, trend line support. In fact, you can see that on the weekly if you flip to the weekly. A slightly longer term trend line here. I'll just change the colour over this. Yes, you've got key trend line support there. We've been speaking about this for a while, and it looks like it just wants to come back down and test this trend line support again. If it does, keep an eye on that. Look at the candlestick pattern, for example here. Nice reversal, nice lower wick, and that reverse back up. If it does a similar thing, then I wouldn't be surprised to see it reverse back up. And of course the fibs, so you can get a nice bit of confidence here. The first one here is a lovely 50% retracement, and that rotated higher. This second one here from the dip, a lovely trendline support and 61.8% Fibonacci retracement confluence, and that rotated up. So you could then extend your fib here and leave this on here and just wait for it to come back down to the trend line, and maybe it will come back down to 61.8. Currently it's getting supported by the 50%, so it could rotate higher. It doesn't have to come back down to the trend line support, but I'd personally prefer to buy off of the trend line support confluence as well, because you've got an extra bit of a support there in my opinion. But it is playing the fibs. It doesn't necessarily have to come to this trend line, because the last two moves have been right off of the fibs, so it could easily rotate off this 50% here and just rotate higher. So keep an eye on that. But I personally like to use the trend line as well, and that's how I wouldn't zoom in on smaller term charts really, to be honest with you, because I think it is due to come down to, it just looks like it wants to come down to that trend line in my opinion. And if you flip it to the daily, this is the trend line here, and that's just starting to break down now, just not strong enough to bounce up because you've got that bigger picture in mind. So that's the focus for me personally on dollar CAD. Euro pound on the weekly, it's all about this setup here. It looks like it's still going to continue to grind back down low to this 50%. If it does, that would be a very key fib, and I'd expect a lot of buyers to come in at around this sort of zone here. But of course, we're currently at the 50-week moving average. Key support level, key indicator there. A lot of people will be trading off of. Be interested to see the weekly close, and if it nice reversal hammer maybe candle, then I will not be surprised to see it rotate higher. So that's the context look on the weekly. And in terms of the daily, nothing massively of interest, and it's all about this sort of support around here. So we haven't had a daily close below this sort of, well, it's pretty much the 84 level. So yeah, the 0 spot 84 handle is the key line in the sand really. Definitely on this daily chart, it's held for a long time. We had some lovely action around here to the left, around here to the middle as well, and we're now testing this level. So yesterday's daily candle, it spiked below, closed above, and this one here spiked below, closed above. Nice hammer, got a couple of daily bullish moves there, bullish candles. So we'll not be surprised to see it hold, but it is testing it. And it is looking slightly heavy, so the daily candle close is key for me here, to be honest with you. And in fact, you could have a look at that level there as well, just slightly higher, because it hasn't closed. Yeah, it hasn't closed below that level. That's just, in terms of the candle bodies, today's candle is a key one, because it is currently below that level. So if the body closes below, if the body closes below both of them, then it's got a long way. It's got a lot of room to go back down. So you've got two levels there to look out for. Ideally, for the bulls, it needs to close above, in my opinion. But as long as it closes above the 84, then it should still be okay. But ideally, it needs to close above that 84.08, in my opinion, for it to come back up. And then of course you've got the moving averages around here as well. And that's the forex. Let's have a look at everyone's favourite commodity, gold. Gold's been a bit more technical recently. You've got a nice trendline support going on here, which currently is below it, so it is breaking this trendline. So the daily close will be interesting here. I think this was a nice fib. Oh no, it wasn't a nice fib. That was most probably a level. Yeah, nice support around here. You can see to the left there, closed above 1274s, rotated higher. But no, in terms of this gold daily chart, it's all about its trendline support. Currently, it's below it, but it is testing the 100-day moving average. So if it comes back up, the bulls will need this to close inside this trendline. Otherwise, I think it will break down. And then the fib, personally, I'll be looking out for. This interesting one will be this one here, and funny enough, you can see this 61.8% retracement coincides with that key previous support, so that could be an interesting one to look out for. And also this 50% has had some previous support as well. You can see that candle there, a few candles here is closed above, so key 1300 marker there. If it does close below that trend line on the daily, then this would be the fib that I personally be looking out for. In terms of shorter term time frames, nothing massively of interest really. It's just been grinding lower. So yeah, the key focus for me would be this fib setup here. If it does close below, if it closes above the trend line, then that trend line is still in play and it should rotate higher, in my opinion. Okay, then that's all for today. I hope you found that video useful. If there's any other pairs that you want to have a look at next week, then feel free to comment under the YouTube video, which I'll post up. or feel free to send us a tweet to our Twitter feed, which is our Twitter handle is at MRC_markets. Hope you have a great week trading, and I'll catch you next week. Thanks for watching.